Oh, ok, vale. Bueno, y buenos días. Feliz lunes. Happy Monday. Feliz lunes.
Feliz
Ah,
lunes también,
sí,
igualmente.
bien, bien, bien. Ok. Vale. Vamos a practicar. Tengo mis contactos, mis lentes de contacto. Sí, I got my contact lenses in today. Don't ask why, but okay. Así es. Ah, bien. Bueno, y vamos a practicar hoy. Espero que ustedes estén bien. Hope you guys are well. Ah, muy bien. Oh, tengo Tío Pepe. I've got my Tío Pepe sign behind me. Zoom also decided to delete every single picture I had for my background. Gracias, Zoom. Okay. Ah, muy bien. Vamos a practicar con conversación fácil, sí, un repaso de hablar con de hablar de actividades normales, actividades de todos los días con respeto a la hora. So today is part of our putting in practice, we hope, with some examples from you of talking about normal activities and putting in a time stamp on that, telling when you do that. So we'll do a teeny tiny review of those concepts to kind of reinforce that before you start your practice with that today. And then we're going to start today. Oh, we're going to start today are this, that, these, those things. See? Uh, a Jean le gusta. Jean likes that. Y vale la pena. It is worth it. It is a good thing to review and to understand why we use some of those simple words for this, that, these, those. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's a word that we throw around a lot, and we should know why we use it and when we use it and how to use it and what it means, because it does have a meaning in terms of both time and distance, both time and distance. So um, that will be a good thing to review too. Pero primero, voy a compartir con ustedes aquí. Bien. Laura. No, y no, that does not share.
It works.
¿Qué pasó? Update my you know what. Okay.
Mhm.
Mejor. Bien. Un repaso breve. Okay, so we'll take one step back, only one step back, to remind us of what we're trying to incorporate in uh, your ideas of talking about daily activities. You had a little video to watch about verbs, and some of the verbs she used may not be ones you use. She said 50. I don't expect you to memorize 50 verbs, but out of that list, I wanted you to pick at least five, por lo menos cinco, ¿sí? Algo. Ah, y, por ejemplo, sí, y hablar de actividades normales, y la hora. Y combinar el uso del verbo con la hora, combining it with the time. So the way to combine it with the time is going to be an a las phrase that you see in red. Okay. The son las phrases are telling time, so actively telling what time it is. But the a las phrases tell us at what time. Okay. The a of the alas just says at, right? A can mean to, but in this case translates in a way in our English expression to the at idea. And the las is a reference to the hour. So a las is what we use in Spanish to tell at what time something happens. And the las is a nod to the word horas, because, usually Most of our hours are plural. The only hour that is singular is la una, 1 o'clock, right? But the word for hour, la hora, is a feminine word. And that's why it has to be a la for the 1 o'clock hour. But anything that's not a 1 o'clock hour is going to be plural, a las, with a time. Bien? You can embellish a little bit more with things like, oh, perdón. Ay, ¿dónde está? Where'd it go? Okay. Sí. You can embellish a little bit more with de la mañana, de la tarde, de la noche. Sí, depende, depende. Pero normalmente vamos a usar frases con referencia a la hora, ¿ok? Por ejemplo, cuando me despierto a las 5 de la mañana, ah, sí, me estiro, estiro, sí, I stretch, sí. Y después, sí, doy comida a las mascotas a las 5:30 de la mañana y a las seis hago una taza de café. Hago una taza de café. Normalmente bebo 2 tazas de café todos los días. Todos los días. Bien? Okay. Vale. You can use any verb you want in any combination you want, and the at las is going to be our time reference. So I want you to make sure you incorporate something with an at las, at least with a few of those verbs. Vale.
Madeline,
Bien? Sí.
can I ask a quick question here? So I've heard you say 3 times this morning, alas, for at a particular time.
Sí, sí.
But when I was working on this, I wanted to say between, one time and another. So, my Google thingy says to use entre las 5 y las 6.
Eso
But
sí.
there's no alas, but it's between las.
Entre
Is that kind of the right format on
Sí, sí,
this?
sí. Exacto, exacto. Muy bien. Y voy a escribir un ejemplo aquí, sí. Ah,
So just to jump in and finish the sentence at least, and then I'll shut up.
No, es buena idea, es muy
No,
buena idea.
me despierto y me levanto de la cama entre las 5 y las 6:30 de la mañana.
Exacto, exacto. Ok. Aquí en letras moradas, en purple, sí, en letras moradas. Es buena idea, Marcos, sí, es muy buena idea. Entre las 5 y las 6. Si no hay una hora exacta, ¿sí? Entonces, between, ¿sí? Pero entre las, and that las is still there because of the concept of horas. And then it waits for us to give a number for the time. Excelente, excelente. Me gusta mucho. Me gusta mucho. Ok, vale. Marcos, ¿quieres empezar? You want to start first since you had a great question to lead off?
Well, after that, I wrote a whole story, so I'm trying to shorten it here. Okay, let me try. Let me find something where I had a time in here. I'm going to skip a piece and then go to something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, these classes. Right? Las lunes y miércoles, aproximadamente las 9, preparo para las clases de español.
aproximadamente a las 9, ¿sí? Tú tomas media hora, 30 minutos para preparar. Bueno, excelente.
Y just one more sentence. Please laugh at me. This is a man saying this, so just laugh.
Está bien, it's okay.
Por los otros días de la semana, a las 10 veo The View con mi esposa.
Ah, vale, muy bien. Eres buen esposo. You're a good husband. Sí.
Tell her.
Sí. Sí. Ah, bueno, mi esposo no tiene mucha paciencia para programas de televisión. Así que mi esposo no ve programas de televisión casi nunca. Ah, bien, bien. Bueno, algo más, Marcos. Un ejemplo más, un ejemplo más.
One more?
Sí, 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 claro.
Normalmente almorzamos, I'm talking about my wife and I, almorzamos entre las 11:30 y las 12.
Perfecto. Muy bien. Y somos flexibles. If we do things with other people, then it's normal to shift into that nosotros format because that is a more accurate storytelling of what happens because somebody joins me and it becomes a nosotros instead of just almuerzo, I have lunch, almorzamos, we have lunch. Bien, excelente. Bueno, ¿un poquito más o no?
Oh, no.
Bueno, adelante. Gracias, Marcos. ¿Otro voluntario o otro voluntaria? Otra voluntaria. ¿Sí? ¿Alguien? Anybody? ¿Sí? Ejemplos. Sean valientes. Be brave.
I'll go.
Bien, gracias, Rebeca.
Me despedito a las 6. Primero yo hago café a las 6:15. Me entra hambre a las 7 en la
Ajá.
mañana. Me ducho normalmente a las 8 de la noche. Me meto en la cama a las 10.
Me meto en la cama. I get myself in bed. And now there are different ways of saying that you get in bed. Me meto en la cama is literally I put myself in bed, which is fine. See? Some people may choose, however, to use me acuesto. I go to bed. Normal, sí. Duermo. I sleep. Me duermo. I fall asleep. ¿Ok? Hay variaciones, ¿sí? Y me gusta que... me gusta el uso de cuarto. I hope you noticed her use of a las 7 o 6. Y cuarto, y cuarto. And that's that quarter hour idea, right? Bien. And that was pronounced correctly because remember, cuarto, if you shift the R and the T, it becomes cuatro. And there's a big difference between cuatro y cuarto. Y Rebeca, sí, nos dijiste, you told us, nos dijiste cuarto, quarter of an hour. Fantástico. Bien. ¿Alguien más? Anybody else? Gracias. Well, Sam next, and then we'll take Jean.
Sure.
Sí. Oh, and Sam, you're on mute. Sam, you're on mute. Before you launch into a perfectly practiced thing, and then you're on mute. Es una lástima. That's a real pity.
Hit the button.
Yeah, el botón, el botón. I think the mute button should be in your lower left
There it
hand.
is.
There you go.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. So can I give you the English and then the Spanish or not?
Si
Or you want?
quieres, somos flexibles. We are flexible.
Okay. So I like to brush my teeth at around 9:45 p.m. So here is the me gusta cepillarme los dientes alrededor de las 9:45 a la noche o a las 10:20 de la noche.
Ok, vale, sí, sí, aproximadamente a las, o alrededor.
A las.
Alrededor is a little different because alrededor says around. So that has to be combined with like a little two-word thing. Instead of the a las, if you're going to say around, the way to
Yeah.
say around is not the same as saying at, right? At
Okay.
is a las. Around is alrededor de las.
Oh, de las.
Alrededor de
Okay.
las. But that las still has to come in
Okay.
to refer to the hour idea, las horas, ¿sí? ¿Bien?
Got it.
Ok, vale. Bueno, sí, me gusta cepillarme, ¿sí? Bueno, bien. ¿Algo más, Sam?
Okay. I like to shower after I return from exercising at 6:10 p.m. So, me gusta ducharme después de regresar de hacer ejercicio a las 6:10 de la tarde.
Okay. Let me show you maybe a simpler way to construct
Okay.
that. Now, you're
Thank
going
you.
for some very big ideas, which is not in and of itself a bad idea. Okay. But you're making these long. So to
Yeah.
make it easier to say, it
Okay.
might be helpful. I'm just saying here because, that speaking production is harder than writing it down production.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. Es pura verdad. That is absolute truth. See? And so what we want to do is to make it a little bit simpler. So you're saying that around 10, you like to shower. Let's cut it down and make it a little bit shorter. Let's
Okay.
cut it down to instead of I like to, I shower.
Okay.
So that cuts out two whole words. Okay. So instead of me gusta, and it's not that it's wrong to say this, but it just shows you how it helps it makes it cuts out words to what is more necessary to get the basic idea out without having to use extra words. Okay?
Okay.
So-
The reason, but I'll give you the reason. The reason I use "I like to" is because in the verbs that we received from there, one of the verbs was dushate, which is to shower. It's to shower, and I use that word. But again, if you use only shower, it doesn't come up that way.
Okay. So, me gusta ducharme. I like to shower. That's fine. Está bien. See?
Mhm.
But a simpler way, because present tense, by the way, is one of the purposes of using present tense, besides saying what I'm doing right now, is to talk about habits that we do as a part of our routine.
Right.
Okay. So one of the implications or one of the reasons that we use el presente, that present tense, is to say, oh, I do this on a normal basis. Yeah. So we can get rid of the me gusta
Right.
and make it a shorter bit of communication, and it still carries with it this idea of es un hábito. It is a habit by just reducing it to me ducho. Me ducho. Okay. Now, after exercising is our next idea, right, Sam?
Right.
Okay. And after exercising is going to use what we call a preposition. After a preposition, what has to happen is that the verb still stays as an infinitive. So that's good for you because you don't have to do another conjugation. So let's look at how that happens. After is después
Are you
de.
showing anything on your screen?
Oh, is it showing up or no?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Yes.
not
Yeah.
for me anyway.
Oh, it might not be showing up because of
I don't know.
the share screen. Hang on. Let me try to fix that.
Thank you.
Here's what we're going to do instead. And we're going to do this. Okay. Oh, perdón. It would help to hit the share button again. Okay.
Very close. Okay.
Mejor? Better?
Yep.
Sí, ok, vale. So, me gusta ducharme. Me gusta ducharme. Todo bien. All good, all good. But
Okay.
the way we can make that easier to get all these ideas out is just to take that core idea of ducharme and put it into a present tense verb.
Okay.
Okay.
Meducha.
And eliminate the me gusta. There's nothing wrong with saying me gusta with that, but me ducho.
Okay.
And now, after, después de is our word combo because it's two words and they have to be used together.
Mm.
Okay. And because we've got this little that is a preposition word and preposition words are words like en, de, and a bunch of others. But the most common ones are
Ah,
en, de. And so de is the preposition. We keep the verb we're going to use after that, connected to that, is going to stay as an infinitive. So here's our exercise word. And again, it's a word combo, hacer ejercicio. So look at how this is less to have to come out
Right.
and produce verbally. Me ducho después de hacer ejercicio.
Right. Hmm.
See? En inglés, after exercising,
Right.
or maybe I exercise, but in this case, en este caso, because of this little magic word de being a preposition, I don't do anything to that verb except keep it as an infinitive. So your brain has very little mental gymnastics of conjugation to have to go through. Okay, bien. So, me ducho después de hacer ejercicio. And you want to say at a certain time?
Yes.
Otra vez. Again, a las.
It's Siez 10 after 6.
Oh, 10 after 6.
Yeah, las 6:10.
10 after 6?
Yes. PM.
Okay, sí. A las 6:10.
A las
And
6:10 de la tarde o de la noche.
de la tarde, porque normalmente hay luz. Normally we still have light at
Okay.
that time.
Right.
If the sun has set, if you live in a part that entryway from de la tarde to
Well,
de la noche, right? That barrier between de la tarde, afternoon, and de la noche is literally determined by whether or not the sun has set. So,
Okay.
winter now, you might be hearing people saying de la noche, maybe, if the sun is really down early, like January,
Yeah.
December, right? Depende. ¿Sí? Pero a las 6:10 de la tarde, es importante. Sería normal. It would be normal to shower if you're an early morning workout person de la mañana. So, de la tarde is fine. Okay. Bueno, Sam. ¿Entiendes mejor? Understand a little bit better how to shorten that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay.
Gracias.
Okay. Vale. Perfecto. ¿Algo más? Anything else, Sam?
No.
No. Okay. Bien. Bien. Perfecto. And we're going to leave that board to the side in case we need to add any other little things to it. Bien. And if you're trying to do this exercise by typing things into Google Translate, that will normally, while you think it's going to make it easier, it doesn't necessarily make it easier. So let me show you something else with this screen real quickly. Because I used to give assignments for kids to tell a short story about their day, about, whatever. And because, of course, my second round of teaching was in the day of the internet, kids were desperately going into translators during language lab to try to do this. So here's what is much easier, and I would try to convey, and I want you to try to do this with yourself. Think in terms of just the verb and conjugate, instead of throwing it into a translator. Yeah. Things like I fixed dinner. Well, I fixed dinner. We might say fix, but if you type that word fix into a translator, it's not going to give you the right word, right? I fixed dinner. The word you probably want is this. See? Preparar. Or maybe instead of that, cocinar, right? Those two verbs are used for that, conveying that idea of that activity. Those would be the two, probably top two, right? Could even be hacer. It could even be that. So instead of throwing this in, because this is kind of a colloquial thing in English to say, I fix dinner. Yeah. And then you'll get some very strange thing coming back out of the translation. Pick one of those three verbs, and now all you got to do is put it into the form to say I do it, which is the yo form, which is easy because that always ends in an o. So, either preparo or cocino or hago.
Marilyn,
One of those.
I couldn't resist. So the Google thing, just to show how smart Google is, came back with preparo la cena.
See. Yeah, there you go. But it's not.
But I put in I sleep, and it said yo duermo instead of me duermo. So it is not going to be always correct. I've done this and I've been wrong.
Okay, so now you can hear, Rebecca, gracias. Thank you for sharing. Gracias por compartir. Thank you for sharing. Because, there's a fine line of difference between duermo and me duermo. Me duermo is I fall asleep. Duermo is I sleep, right? Normally. But you know what? To say yo duermo is not incorrect by any means, but most people won't use the word yo with that. So even though a translator spits back that combination of yo duermo, right? Most people are going to omit the yo. And the yo tends to make you sound a little more beginner in the eyes of a native speaker, because it's not wrong, but they would use it to be emphatic about something. Oh, you sleep at 9? Oh, you do the old person thing. I sleep at 10. Yeah. Yo duermo. Okay. To be emphatic, they would include the yo. But normalmente no usamos yo. So there are all kinds of little traps we can fall into with the translate thing. Okay, bien. A ver, and also, by the way, I'm sure there are plenty of people, you may want to try it sometime. Some people like to go into something like ChatGPT to do a translation, but and that actually can do some good things, but okay, bien. Otros ejemplos, other examples. Algo. Jean, you have some.
Yeah,
See?
I can do some. Yeah. So I watched her video again and I wrote down all the 50 verbs and I was like, I had high school and a little bit of college Spanish, and I'm like, I don't know a lot of these. So I tried to pick some that I had never used before in my sentences because I'm that kind of person. But I started early, so most of these are my early morning routine. Okay. Apago el despertador cuando suena. Son las 5:05, todas las mañanas. Salgo de la cama con mucha, I don't know how to say it, energy, energía.
Energía.
Energía. Soy una persona le gustan las mañanas.
Sí. Bien.
Salgo de la cama, oh, sorry, I said that. Me estiro por la mañana. Me estiro por la mañana todos los días. Son 5:15.
Okay. And instead of son las, alas.
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 Oh, son las alas. Oh, got it. I made
Alas,
two
yeah.
sentences. Okay.
So
alas,
you just, the only little tweak you want there is an alas to say at a certain time. Bien?
Sure.
Okay.
What I did there, I wrote the sentence and then I went back and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to add the time. So they just did it as a second sentence.
There you go. See.
That was my problem. Okay. Got it. And then I said, elijo la ropa que voy a ponerme. Son las 7.
A las 7.
Mañana.
A las 7.
Yeah, otros días, elijo la ropa que voy a ponerme. Son las 9 a la noche. The night, but I didn't know how to say the night before.
Alas.
A las noche.
Por la noche, sí.
Sometimes I lay out my clothes in the morning, other times the night before.
The previous night, la noche previa, la noche anterior.
La noche previa. Okay, got it. And this word I just learned. I didn't know it. Sorry, it's on my phone. Oh, there it is. So, hago un batido de frutas, which means a smoothie.
Sí.
Okay? Hago un batido de frutas a las 6:30 de la mañana.
Bien.
Hecho sorry, I do eat during coffee. Hecho azúcar y un poco crema en mi café a las 9:30 de la mañana.
Bien. Excelente. Sí. Hecho is a nice verb to throw in, no pun intended. Echar means to throw, literally. If you put a little cream in, your coffee, echar, sí, echo un poco de crema, sí, a mi café. Bien, perfecto.
Okay.
Gracias.
That's about it. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, vale. Bueno, ¿Qué más? Who else? Anybody else got a couple examples of things that they do? Por ejemplo, bueno, Cindy, sí.
I the same. There were a lot of verbs that I've never seen before, so I picked out a couple I didn't know. Me tombo en el sofá a tomar una siesta todos los días a las 3.
Okay, a las 3. Bien.
Sí.
Y me acurruco con una almohado y una manta.
Okay. Bien.
Nice.
Vale.
Cindy, what was your last sentence in English?
I curl up.
Acurrudo.
I curl up. I've never heard of it. To curl up. So I curl up with a pillow and a blanket.
Or cuddle. I think it's also cuddle, no?
Sí. Acurrucarse es curl up. Sí, acurrucarse. Sí. Con la almohada, with the pillow. Yeah. Es esa acción, ¿sí? Esa acción, bien. Bueno, snuggle. ¿Cómo decir? Snuggle up, ¿sí? ¿Eh? Vale. And that 50 verb thing was not, video was not to say you must learn all these 50 verbs, just to throw in some variety. Yeah, ¿sí? Bien. Ok, vale. Bueno, ¿qué más? ¿Alguien más? Anybody else? ¿Con los ejemplos o no? ¿Eso es todo?
Marilyn, I don't have another example, but I wanted to ask a question. So I was this reminded me a little bit of my high school French, but if you were to use menos to describe, a time before an hour, and if you wanted to use menos, say, with cuarto, in French, if I remember right, you say less a quarter. But is it just menos cuarto or is it menos uno cuarto?
Okay. Menos cuarto. Boom. Menos cuarto. Less 15, less a quarter. That's it. See. Menos is less. But it is not less a quarter in Spanish. Menos cuarto. Sí. Buena pregunta. Good question. Muy buena pregunta. Ok. Vale, bien. ¿Hay más preguntas o hay más ejemplos de ustedes? Do we have any other examples from you guys or no? ¿Eso
I'm
es
having
todo?
trouble with video, but I can say one sentence here, I guess.
Vale, bien.
Levantarme entre las 6:30 o aproximadamente 7 a.m.
Okay. Let's take a look.
Mhm.
Let's take a look at that together to see how we can tweak that to make it sound a little bit more natural. Levantarme, we need to do something with that to tell who's doing it, right?
Oh, put a O there.
Well, we do put an O there, but we need to also do something with this first, right? So your idea of starting with that as my action I want to talk about is fine. But we need to alter it to tell who is doing it. So we need to, first of all, detach this little me, and we're going to move it to up front. Yeah? We're going to move it up front because that's what somebody's going to expect to hear. But me levantar does not work because that's like saying, I to get up. We need to do something with this too to say that I'm doing it. And you're right. We need an O word. But first we need to do something with this. What do we do with that levantar, Lisa? ¿Recuerdas? We get rid of that. And now we put on our O. So try that again, looking at that. Yeah?
Okay. Me levanto entre. Should I continue?
Este is this.
Oh, I get up.
So what's your idea that you want to say?
Oh, I just want to say that I get up at 6:30 or approximately
Okay.
7,
At 6 o'clock. So let's 6:30. Let's say 6:30.
All right.
So we've got our me levanto. Now you've got your verb that's telling who's doing it, and it's a reflexive, so it needs that little me word, right? It's not like the yo that I can just cut out automatically. But we need an a las. We need an a las idea. Me levanto.
Me levanto. Okay.
We need that, and we need our hour of the day.
6:30.
Y 30.
30.
A las 6:30. Me levanto a las 6:30. Me levanto. The me levanto needs to hang together. Me levanto. And then the next thing that needs to hang together, because all these words group together for this idea, is a las 6:30. 6:30 has another way of saying 30. Instead of 30,
Media.
yeah, instead of 30, you have an option. You can
Media.
also use the word
Media?
media,
Oh, yeah.
Media.
right? And
Mhm.
that's like saying six. Yeah,
6:30.
half. It's like saying half past. The media is literally the half word.
Medium.
It's a half an hour. Okay.
You probably wouldn't use Trenta that often.
Oh, you may very well use 30. There are
Mhm.
people who, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not like there's a wrong way to say 6:30 unless you pick a number that doesn't indicate a 30. If you use 40, it's 10 minutes later, and that might be too late, and you'll be late for whatever else you're doing in your days, right? So 30 is fine, media is fine. People will switch and use whichever one they want. So you have options there. ¿Sí? Bien? Okay.
Sí.
Vale. ¿Algo
Bien.
más, Lisa? Anything else?
No, I'm okay for now.
Bien. Okay. Bien. Bien. But,
Thank you.
think about that. Starting out with levantarme is an okay step, but now we need to always conjugate that to tell who is doing it, right? And
Right.
the reason we need to do that is someone may also add to this. Let's say you have a partner and you get up at one time, but your partner does not get up. Your partner stays in bed. Okay. Sí, mi pareja se levanta a las 8:30, ¿sí?
8:30.
Sí, a las 8:30, bien, que es más tarde, which is later. Okay,
Right.
vale, bien, good,
Sí. Yeah. I mean,
bien,
thank you.
bien, de nada, de nada. Okay, bien, and that se levanta had to be a different form of levantarse because it's talking about a different person, not yo. So that's why just levantarme, not conjugated, doesn't work so well. They need those words to be in a certain combination. Okay. Bien?
Bien.
Vale. Very good. Otra pregunta ¿hay otra pregunta o tienen ustedes otro ejemplo? ¿Sí o no? ¿No? Bien.
Yeah.
Okay. Vale. We're going to address a question that came from you guys, which is always good. And this is a good thing to think about because it is the this and these idea. This and these. Such tiny words and so many problems with these tiny words sometimes. That's the way it is. So we're going to take a quick dive. Oop. Bien. We're going to use a couple of cues to help us out here. But first, we're going to listen to a video. Okay. This and these literally talk about space or distance. And, wow, yeah, I think back to this, when I was teaching really, really little kids, like 7 and 8-year-olds, we would simply use examples and nothing else. But once you get to the older kids, they say, well, this and that, there's no difference. Who cares? Who cares? This and that, they mean the same thing. And they're like, how do I explain this? No, they don't mean the same thing, actually, even though they're teeny tiny words. This and that are different words. And they'd say, well, who cares? And I'd say, well, because you're indicating how far away something is, whether it's close or whether it's not close. And so it actually does make a difference. If you're pointing something out to somebody, they might be looking at the wrong item. So actually, it does have meaning. And we're going to take a look at this to remind ourselves, and then we're going to see some examples. Bien. Pueden ver la chica, ¿sí? Con la camiseta rosa, ¿sí? Bien, vale.
Not
Oh,
going
I can see her, but there's
Nothing's moving.
It's not.
You cannot
the
hear her?
video's not play. It's not playing.
Okay. So much for updates. They lie. Una vez más.
The both
There
of
she
you. They
is.
have no
Okay.
clue which restaurant
With no
you
sound.
are referring to.
There we go.
You realize that you
Okay.
need a way to say this restaurant to indicate which spot you're asking about. Now, imagine you've made it inside the restaurant and tell the waiter you would like a salad. They ask you which one, and you see that there are indeed multiple salad choices on the menu. You
Oh,
point
we're
at the
gonna
one
take
you
our-
want, but you wish you had a way to verbally tell the waiter that you would like that salad. In these two examples, you needed to clarify which object or place you were talking about to differentiate it from the other similar options. In English, we do this using the words this and that. Although we might not think about these words a lot, they are the backbone of so many important conversations. In Spanish, these types of words are called adjetivos demonstrativos. They are what we will be learning in this lesson. Demonstrative adjectives, or adjetivos demonstrativos, denote the distance between the speaker and an object, place, or another person to whom they
Oh, they denote the difference between the space, the difference in the space between the speaker and whatever that object is. And that is the concept that my teenage kids said, there's no difference, but there is. Okay, so these are demonstrative words. They demonstrate both. And interestingly, they demonstrate both space and sometimes they demonstrate time, distance as well. They can. That is another possibility.
the adjective of the sentence refers to. They can also refer to time, especially the present, the past, and the near future. Now, before
So the way that this and that refer to time is because sometimes we're referring to this and that in a present sense, or it can be a past. And it can be a way, way, way back kind of past, in which case there's going to be a different category of words.
Before we get any further, there is one important thing that you should know. In English, we have just two scales of distance of these types of words. When you use the word this, you're likely talking about something close by, while using the word that implies that the object, person, or place in question is further away. In Spanish, demonstrative adjectives
So this means it's something close to the speaker, the person who is talking. Okay. And that will generally imply that something is not super close to the speaker. It will mean that it is not reachable without me moving. It is not easily at hand that I can just immediately grab it. Okay. That implies not close enough to do that. Okay. Bien.
adjectives actually denote 3 distinct distances instead of just 2. In this lesson, you will learn how to differentiate these 3 levels of distance in Spanish, as well as the ideal context for using each one. There's close distance, or aquí or acá, with demonstrative adjectives este or esta. There's middle distance, or ahí or allí, with demonstrative adjectives ese or esa. And there's far distance, or allá, with demonstrative adjectives aquel or aquella.
Okay, so let's look at these. These are the 3 tiers or 3 layers of distances, right? And the words you see there with the blue background, aquí, acá, both mean here. People use different words for here. And I will tell you, don't get all wrapped up in a wad over aquí and acá. They just mean here. Regionally, some people prefer to use one word or the other. It's not a super big deal. There are people who will tell you different definitions of when we use aquí versus acá. Don't get tied up in that. It's not a big deal. Okay? No pasa nada. Doesn't matter that much. Aquí, acá indicate here. In that second category, that close, near, far. Near means I can't grab it just reaching out my hand, right? It might be closer to the person I'm speaking to, or it might be just a little bit out of reach. That's what it means by near, right? Close means right near me. I could reach out and touch it. Near means I probably can't touch it unless I get up and move to go to a different space. Okay, so ahí and allí both indicate there. Aquí, acá, here. Okay, those are the here words. And ahí, allí both mean there. Okay, bien. Again, it's the same thing. Regionally, people may prefer to use ahí or allí. They're the same. They have the same general meaning, right? But then we've got a third category, and that means that one over there. And over there, or far off, or way out yonder, all those English ideas, way out yonder, off there, over there, out there, right? There's a different category of that or those words. There's a different category. All right. So here's the mnemonic device we used to use for kids to distinguish. This and these do have T's. That and those, no T goes. And an A for far away. And this is the one that kids never got wrong. Aquel and aquella, that A for far away, I get that. Yay. But sitting there writing the test, you'd see people, I could lip read. This and these, no T goes, that and those. Right. This and these do have T's, that and those, no T goes. I'd literally be lip reading people, but you know what? That's okay. If that is what helps you remember it, that is fine. Doesn't work so great while you're speaking, but yeah, in a written test, they could do that. This and these do have T's. This and these do have T's. Okay. So the only difference really between the words is the letter T, right? Este is the masculine form. You would expect that word to have an O. Sometimes it will have an O, but only sometimes. If it is paired up with an actual noun, a thing, it will not have an O at the end, right? There is a word, it does exist, esto, but we cannot pair up. We cannot pair up esto with an O with an actual noun, an object, right? If I want to talk el celular and say this phone, it's este celular, este. This and these do have T's. Este celular, it cannot be expressed as esto celular.
Why not?
Because how's that for a great explanation? Because here comes the okay, we're going to open the door because the word esto does indeed exist, but esto is never paired up with a thing. Never paired. I cannot say esto papel. It's este papel. Esto.
So este is for masculine, all masculine.
Este is for masculine. Este is for masculine. A onesie. But esto does exist, but it is used by itself, never with a noun. And it is used to refer to something we can't categorize into gender. So esto talks about a situation. Esto can refer to an abstract idea, but it won't refer to an object that is concrete. Okay? So, un ejemplo, an idea, un ejemplo, an example. You are trying to plug in, you are trying to fix your own, you are trying to replace your own battery on your car. You refuse to pay $300 to have that mechanic do it. I can plug this in. I can plug this in. You get into the middle of that and you realize the connectors are kind of rusty and crummy and they're not connecting like it and you're frustrated. Esto es difícil. Esto es difícil. This is hard. The battery isn't hard. The action of fixing this is now harder than you thought. You're referring to the action of replacing that battery. Esto es difícil. Esto es difícil. You're talking about the activity you're doing. That's when we use esto. To talk about an activity, to talk about an idea. We also use esto to talk about a thing if we don't know what it is. So esto, even though it ends in an o, is one of the very few what we call neuter words. It is not really masculine. It is like a limbo category. We don't know what it is, right? You're pointing at a bunch of gadgets. You don't know what the word for that thing is. Yeah. ¿Qué es esto? What is this? Esto is okay in that situation. It's okay for a thing that you don't know what to call it. It's okay to talk about an idea, which does not have masculine or feminine gender. It's okay to talk about an activity, right? You're scrubbing the toilet. Esto es aburrido. This is boring. Right? That activity of cleaning something doesn't fall into a gender category. It's just something you're doing. Yeah? Okay? Got that idea? Okay.
Marilyn, so you said you could use esto if you don't know what the object is.
Sí.
Okay.
So let's say you're in a store and you forgot to pack your charger. You forgot to pack your charger on your trip. Yeah. And you don't know how to say charger, but like there are a whole bunch of chargers, let's say in a display case or on a rack. Yeah. And you don't know what to call this, but you wonder if this is the right one. ¿Qué es esto? What is this? ¿Qué es esto? You want to know what the word is for it? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto? What is the? ¿Qué es esto? What is this? ¿Sí? ¿Sí? ¿Cómo se dice esto? How do you say that? ¿Cuánto es esto? How much is this one? Is this thing? Yeah. So, okay. And similarly, this and these do have T's, that and those, no T goes. The that word, ese, which similarly ends in an A, that's a masculine form. But like I have esto to refer to a neutro, a neuter idea, yeah, an activity or an idea or a concept, something abstract, yeah. You can have the word eso. ¿Qué es eso? What's that? ¿Qué es eso? What is that? When you don't know how to categorize it. Yeah? Bien. So just know that there is an O form for those words. Este has an esto form, but it is not masculine. Ese has an O form, eso, but is not masculine, right? It refers to an action or an idea or something abstract or something that you don't know what to call it. Okay, you don't know the word for it. And there we go. But when we pair it up with a thing we know how to say, then it goes into a masculine form, este and ese. Okay, I'm going to let
For now, let's start off with close distance. Este and esta are the demonstrative adjectives that indicate a close distance. They're like saying the word this in English. You can think of aquí and acá as meaning here or in this place in English. To describe something in the masculine form, still denoting this close distance, you would use the word este. In the feminine form, you would simply say está. Keep in mind that both the masculine and feminine forms here are singular. Those words point out the closest proximity between the speaker and the object out of the three groups we'll be learning in this lesson. But just how close are we talking here? Well, a good rule of thumb is that if you are so close that you can touch the object that you're talking about, you should use este and esta. For instance,
that's it. If you can touch it. If you can touch it without moving, then este or esta is the word you want. This, because it's close and you can touch it.
You might find yourself telling a friend, este año planeo terminar mi curso de español. I plan.
Now, if you want to say this year, it's like, wait a minute, that's not an object I can touch. Now, this is talking about time. But if it is in this year, okay, este año.
Plan to finish my Spanish course this year. The thing you are clarifying in this case is the year that you plan to finish. If you just said año, your friend wouldn't know which year you plan to complete the course. By saying este año, you made it clear that you were talking about this year. Este makes sense here because this year is a close distance away from the current time. So far, we've seen the singular forms of these words. Este and esta translates to this in English. Can you guess what their plural form translates to? If you guessed these, you'd be correct. Estos and estas.
So look what happens. The O comes back for the masculine plural. So estes, yeah. I don't take este and just slap on an S. With these, these, which is the plural, this and these is the plural for the word this, right? With the masculine plural form, the O comes back. Estos and estas,
are the masculine and feminine plural forms for these demonstrative adjectives denoting close distance. For tons of helpful example sentences that put
We're gonna skip the
Spanish demonstrative adjectives. Remember, if you want to learn how to speak Spanish, make sure to check out
shameless self-promotion. Let's go
To denote
ahead.
that something is a middle distance away, you would use the words ese or esa. Remember?
So if you cannot touch it without moving, you want the next category of words. Okay? And it is the word for that. This and these, I can touch it. That and those, I have to move to go touch it. Okay, so it indicates it's further away. If I'm talking to somebody, it might be near the person I'm talking to, but it's out of reach.
Remember how our last words were like saying here in English? Well, when you say ahí or allí, it's
Meaning
like
there.
if you said there in English. The masculine singular form here becomes ese, while the feminine form would be esa. The middle set of Spanish demonstrative adjectives can refer to something nearby that the speaker can see, but which is not easily within reach. In terms of time, these words can be used to talk about a specific moment in the recent past, but not one that happened too long ago. This will make a bit more sense when we see it in a sentence. Say you and your friend are on a tropical vacation and you spot a beautiful beach that you've been wanting to pay a visit. You might tell your friends, "Esa playa es de la que te hablé." That beach is the one I told you about. The word esa is used here because the beach is a medium distance away from you. And of course, esa is in the feminine form to match the noun la playa or beach. Now you're familiar with ese and esa. They're both ways of saying that in Spanish. If you use the plural forms esos for masculine nouns and esas for feminine nouns, it would be like saying those in English. And like I said, in Espanol, we have 3 demonstrative adjectives. The third type, which we'll learn right now, is also equivalent to saying that in English. However, this third type of demonstrative adjective denotes something that is a far distance away. We'll explain everything you need to know about this third type next. But first, have you subscribed to the Baseline YouTube channel yet? If you're enjoying this lesson,
hang on. Okay.
Something that is a far distance away. Our first set of words meant here, and the second set meant there. For this last set of words, you can think of them as meaning over there. The masculine singular form will become aquel, and the feminine
Here's the A for far away. This and these do have T's, that and those, no T goes, and an A for far away. So este, we take the T out, it becomes ese or esa, and then the A for far away is aquel, the masculine, or aquella. And again, there is an aquello. You won't hear it a lot. You won't hear it often. But aquello, again, is for abstract or conceptual things, okay? But conversationally, you will not hear it a lot.
Singular form, aquella. This final set of demonstrative adjectives indicates the greatest degree of physical distance or time gap. In terms of time, these words could be used to talk about something that happened quite a long time in the past. Something you might not necessarily even mention a specific date for. For example, at a family gathering, you might overhear a relative explaining, "Aquellos muchachos son los primos de Fernando." Those boys are Fernando's cousins. When it comes to the plural forms of this set of demonstrative adjectives, they are.
And the aquellos chicos would probably be across the room. Yeah? That aquellos thing, if you talked about aquellos muchachos son los primos de Fernando, I'm in one corner of the room and they're like over there and they can't even hear us talking about them. Aquellos muchachos, those boys over there. Yeah. They're not near me. I'm talking to you. They're not even near you. They're there. Yeah. Bien. If you got to do that, yeah, if it's way off, it's the aquel or aquella, aquellos, aquellas idea. And if you're talking about like many years ago, right, at that family gathering, instead of talking about those kids or cousins, aquellos muchachos, en aquellos años, in those years, it's like saying the way back when idea. En aquellos años, if grandma is talking about, in my day, we used to, yeah? En aquellos años, right? It indicates that they're long ago, past years. Bien. The way back when, time machine. Okay.
Adjectives, they are pretty intuitive. The masculine plural form is simply aquellos and the feminine is aquellas. Just like their singular forms translates to that in English, these plural forms mean roughly the same thing as the word those. Once again, to see several examples of how these words are used in daily conversation, be sure to read the full article on demonstrative adjectives in Spanish, which we have linked in the description.
Okay. Let's go forward a little bit.
Demonstratives generally come before a noun because they are adjectives. And you know how with normal Spanish adjectives, you have...
So this and these come before the noun. Este celular, would not say celular este. Yeah, it's not like el carro rojo. Yeah, where rojo comes behind. So the words come before the noun. That's an important thing to know.
Have to make their form agree with the noun's gender and number. For instance, if you wanted to say that multiple dogs are big, you would need to know that the word for more than one dog, perros, is masculine and plural. Therefore, you would take the masculine plural form of the adjective grande or big and use it in conjunction with the noun. This would sound like los perros grandes. Once you understand that concept, you'll find it easier to remember that your demonstrative adjectives also need to agree with the noun they are describing in both gender and number. One last quick tip with these demonstrative adjectives: they have no written accents. Good news for you, one less thing to remember. This, that, these, and those. If you've been paying attention, you know how to say all of these words in Español. It might not seem like a lot, but these 4 simple words can completely change the depth of your Spanish communication, so keep practicing them as much as you can. Ahora, ¿estás listo para usar estos adjetivos demostrativos en español? Now, are you ready to use these demonstrative adjectives in Spanish? Try out the practice exercises in our guide that is in the description.
Okay, we're going to do a couple of exercises together. See? Okay. Vale. Uy. Es una, I don't have my green screen up. Es una cuerda. Es una cuerda. ¿Sí? Es una cuerda. Cuerda. Femenina, ¿sí? ¿Cómo se dice this cord?
Come on.
Esta
Esta
cuerda.
Esta cuerda, this cord, esta cuerda. Bueno, sí. I can, if I show this to somebody, yeah, and they know I'm talking about la cuerda, see? I could just say, because again, I forgot to pack it and I need this thing. Yeah, so I'm buying it. Quiero esta. Quiero comprar, I want to buy. Quiero comprar esta, por favor. Quiero comprar esta. I want to buy this one. Esta, by itself, if I'm showing the item, esta can just mean this one. And I don't need the word one. It's just esta. ¿Sí?
Quiero esta.
¿Sí? Quiero comprar esta cuerda. I want to buy this cord. ¿Sí? Quiero comprar esta. I want to buy this one. Es igual. It's the same. ¿Sí? Okay. If I'm talking about audífonos, phones, headphones, because they've got 2, one for each ear. It's plural. It's like using the word pants, you know, you got 2 legs. So for headphones, you got one for each ear, right? Audífonos. Audífonos masculino. These headphones would have to become
Estos.
Estos audífonos. Me gustan estos audífonos. Me gustan estos. I like these. If I'm showing it and I want to just get rid of the word audífonos, I can just say, me gustan estos. I like these. Because I'm showing it to you. You know they are audífonos. Ideally, yeah. And I could just use the word these, see? And they're close. But, you know, if the audífonos were out of reach, it would become esos audífonos. Esos audífonos, okay? So it's all a matter of, is it within reach this and these do have T's. Yeah. If they're out of reach and I'd have to walk over, right? Or just move over to get them, it becomes, see?
Esos.
Esos, right? That and those, no T goes. And if it's way, way far off, it's the A for far away, right? Aquellos, aquellos. Bien. Bueno, so let's take a look. We're going to do a few of these together, and I'm going to have you maybe try some of these out. ¿Dónde está? And by the way, I will give you this whole thing so that you don't have to worry about copying down gobs and gobs of words. But see?
So Marilyn, I just have a quick question because when I had originally asked about this, I think one of the things that I was getting confused is, and you just said "donde está," where está is a verb, but and that has the accent on the A. So I was getting confused with using esta, meaning this, and está is the verb. I think that was part of it. Yep. And then also just for me, not having strong enough vocabulary to know always if something's masculine or feminine. So I sometimes would mix up the masculine and feminine just because I didn't know the verb.
Yeah. Let's take a look. This is one of those times when an accent mark actually makes a world of difference.
Right.
Yeah. Because these things are spelled the same, but because one might have an accent mark and the other doesn't, sometimes it totally changes the word. Esta is this, right? But once I take that word and I punch the end instead of the beginning, esta, right? Esta, esta. They're not pronounced the same because the emphasis is different. Esta punches the beginning vowel sound. Esta, esta, right? That part is what gets the punch. Esta. Esta means this. If you mispronounce it, you turn it into a verb, which is a totally different word with a totally different meaning. Esta punches the end vowel. Esta. And that, when in writing, has to be denoted with an accent mark. But when you're speaking, it's super important that you give more punch, give more stress to the ending if you mean the verb, right? Está means it or he or she is. Is with an emotion. Está contento. Is with a location. Está en su habitación, is in his bedroom. Okay? Está. So está, because we're punching the end, makes it into a whole different word.
Right.
And that is a mistake that a lot of people make. And yeah. So where we stress the word is important because it can, in this instance, change it quite a lot. See? Yeah. So I'm going to send you this whole set of notes so that you can get the feel. And this, these words, it'll talk about those. It'll talk about what the forms are, right? And it will talk about why some of these words are not masculine. So you'll see plenty of examples of that. But for now, let's take a look at something that will tell us a little bit about space. And I'll send you this as well. And we'll see if you can use this. We'll do a couple of these together. And then this tries, in not the best way spatially, but it tries a little bit to give you the space idea, right? The farther away the picture is from the sentence, the
Marilyn,
farther away.
no,
Oh, cannot
no,
see?
no. But before you jump into this,
Sí, sí.
I'm on the last screen still in my head.
Okay.
You were distinguishing like esta, this, from esta, is.
Mhm.
So just I'm either kind of lost right now for a second, but if you wanted to say like, where is that book?
Aha.
Are you going to say something like donde
¿Dónde
es
está?
donde
¿Dónde
está
está?
¿Dónde
Este libro.
Eso
Sí.
libre?
libra? So
Ese
you're going to
sí.
use both. You're going to use both words in that sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it'll be hard to use it with a this that really makes sense, but it is possible.
Or
See?
with that. Yeah. I mean, where is the book is okay. Donde está
¿Dónde está?
el libro?
¿Dónde está? Sí.
But
Uy, a ver, bump me out of my. Oh, why did it bump me out? Oh, it's bumping me out of my keyboard, even though it says I've got that keyboard on.
Está
Okay.
este
Okay.
libro.
So bear with me that I cannot put in my accent marks or my punctuation for some reason. It's bumping me out, which is super annoying, but well, there it is. Bien. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está ese plato? ¿Dónde está ese plato? ¿Dónde está ese plato? Where is that plate?
D-O-N-D-E. ¿Dónde?
¿Dónde?
Oh, gracias, sí. ¿Dónde? ¿Dónde está ese plato? ¿Dónde está ese plato? I guess it would theoretically be, you could say ¿dónde está este plato? But here's the problem with ¿dónde está este plato? If it's this and it's close to me, why don't I know where it is?
Right.
Theoretically, grammatically, it is correct. In practice, if it's this, it's near me. Why can't you see that? Are you blind? Oh, perhaps you are. Perhaps you don't have your glasses on. Perhaps, quizás. Yeah, but yeah. Está,
Because
right.
of our age.
Where we punch that word está is a big deal. Yeah. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? If you were only to utter those two words, ¿dónde está? Automatically somebody's brain would be going, what are you talking about? ¿Dónde está? Where this? Where this? ¿Dónde está? Where is? Where is meaning its placement. See? Bien? Vale. So, yeah. En teoría, in theory. Some things are possible in theory, but not so possible elsewhere. So here's what I'm going to send you to maybe practice with a little bit during the week. And in sort of a lame way. And it's lame because, you only have so much space on a sheet of paper, yeah? But anything that's close, right, is going to be for the this and these do have T's words, right? That and those, no T goes. If it's a little bit further away, you want the that and those category. And if it's almost on the edge of the paper, you're going to want the far away category and an A for far away, right? And I'm going to have one caveat, one little warning. This word ordenador is a word for computer, but you only hear that in Spain. Nobody's going to use ordenador on this side of the pond, as they say. So, yeah, ordenador, we would use computadora. Some people will even use computador. In Colombia, I've heard people use computador, but computadora is a feminine word. And yes, depending on which word they use for computer, that will change the word for this or that one over there. Bien. So we're going to look at our 3 examples and then let you practice some of this and these words during the week. Este disco es de Miguel. Este disco es de Miguel. This disc is Mike's. And right, remember, we can't say Mike's with apostrophe S. It's got to be de Miguel. De Miguel. Este disco es de Miguel. This thing near me, and I can reach out and I can touch it. So it is near me, but it belongs to somebody. Es de Miguel, right? But now we've got this cámara, la cámara, and we've got something far away on the sheet of paper. So we want an A for far away word. Yeah. So you've got 3, the objects are in 3 separate spaces for a reason. See, aquella cámara es de Oscar. Aquella cámara es de Oscar. And aquella would indicate it's something, I can see it, but it's over there. I can't touch it. You know what? You can't either. Yeah, it's over there. It's far away. And esos documentos, here we've got something in the middle space, right? Disco, that was close to the sentence. Documentos, this is in the middle space. Esos documentos son importantes. Those documents are important. Esos documentos son importantes, right? So you've got this category. If the drawing is close to the sentence, you want this category. If it's in the middle space, you want that and those, no T goes category, right? That. And if the object is placed way at the edge of the paper, you want the A for far away category. ¿Sí? Bien? ¿Tiene sentido? Makes sense?
Yep, thank you.
Sí, sí. Just a little something so you can kind of practice it. See? Un poquito, un poquito. And I'm going to show you one other little practice idea here. Por ejemplo, y tengo que engrandecer mi pantalla. I need to make my screen a little better. Ok, para ilustrar, por ejemplo, vamos a practicar todos juntos. If I were at a fruit stand, some of those things are stacked way up. Yeah. Some of these things. Estoy en una frutería. We are all in. Estamos en una frutería. We're at a fruit stand. Okay. See? Yeah. Bien. If I want to talk about apples, and they're on the lower tier. They're on the lower tier. And I can just reach out. What would I use to talk about manzanas? Manzanas.
You use this.
Estas.
Estas manzanas, ¿sí? Estas manzanas. ¿Cómo se dice? I want these apples.
Quiero
estas
manzanas.
Estas manzanas. Quiero estas manzanas.
A mí también.
Unas 4, maybe 4. ¿Sí?
4.
Quiero estas manzanas. Sí, quiero estas manzanas. Vale, a ver. Let's talk about uvas, some grapes up here. Maybe I cannot touch these.
Eso.
So it's esas.
Uvas. I want those, please.
Esos. Quiero esos.
Uvas.
Oh, so it'd be
uvas.
Esas. No, it's esas. So
esas.
It's quiero esas.
Quiero esas, por favor. I want those, please. See? And you'd probably have to say uvas because there are many things. And yeah, he'd have to know which one of those fruits you're talking about. So you'd want to include the uvas. Quiero esas uvas, por favor. Quiero esas uvas, por favor. Wow. Melón. Melón. Un melón. You're not going to buy all those melons. You want one melon. See? Un melon. And those are on the top tier and they're,
Far away.
Far away.
yeah.
Could say
Uh,
quiero aquel, maybe?
Quiero
Aquel?
aquel melon. Quiero aquel
Okay.
melon. It's way up there and I can't reach it. And you're going to have to walk over to go get it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Es la distancia. Es la distancia. Es la clave. That's the key. Quiero aquel melon. Sí, quiero aquel melon. I want that melon over there. Okay, let's say you're in a different space. You're in a store.
Ropa.
See? If we're talking about camisas,
Shirts.
see? Ah, I see these shirts. I see these shirts, yeah. Ooh, look at these shirts.
Miro las camisas.
Miran las camisas. Look at these shirts. Miran.
Miran estas camisas.
Estas camisas. Ah, miren estas camisas. Miren estas camisas. Miren estas camisas. Bien, vale. Bueno, a ver. Let's say now this is up on a stand. It's maybe not, I can't reach out and touch it. It's just there, see? Ah, el suéter. El suéter.
El suéter.
I like that sweater. I like that sweater. I can touch the t-shirts. I can't touch that sweater because it's up and over a little ways.
Me gusta
Bien.
eso.
Me gusta.
Suéter. ¿Suéter? ¿Suéter?
El suéter. El
El
suéter.
suéter.
I like that sweater. Me gusta,
Eso.
Es,
El suéter. Suéter.
but it won't be eso suéter.
be ese.
Esa.
Ese suéter.
Oh, ese. Okay.
Me gusta,
Esa.
me gusta ese suéter.
Esa.
Me gusta ese suéter. Bien, me gusta ese suéter. Ah, bien. Ah, chaquetas. These jackets, I'd have to walk way over to get to those. See? Ah,
Bello.
I want to see those jackets. I want to see those jackets. Quiero ver. I want to see. Quiero ver. I want to see those jackets.
Quiero ver aquellas
Aquellas chaquetas.
Aquellas chaquetas. Sí. Quiero ver aquellas chaquetas. Quiero ver aquellas chaquetas. ¿Entienden?
Sí.
These words often come up in a store setting when you have things that are maybe close to you and other things not so much. You might have something that somebody has to bring over to show to you, or you have to walk over to go and get. Yeah. Or you want somebody to grab that and bring it over to you. So knowing these distance words is helpful in many, many store settings for that reason. ¿Entienden? Understand that? ¿Sí?
Mhm.
¿Entienden? Okay. And we'll look at a couple of neuter ideas next week, but they'll be just little short examples because they're easy. Son fáciles, ¿sí? Son fáciles de entender. Okay? ¿Todo bien? All good? Okay.
Good.
Gracias.
Bien. So come back, do that little exercise. We'll come back and look at it next week just to give you some quick corrections. We'll start with that. See? Bien. And you will have a storytelling video for the coming week. Bien. Okay. Oh,
Gracias.
sí.
What?
De nada. Let me show you one more thing
Okay.
as an illustration. Oh, I don't know if I can make this bigger. Puedo engrandecer. Sí. Okay. An idea imparting. Here's a neuter idea. Oh, the impressive view from space before and after in Valencia. Hubo una inundación. There was an incredibly bad flood. You may have read about it in the news if you read the news.
In Spain?
Yeah, in Spain, in Valencia. Valencia, and
Valencia.
está al sur. Ah.
Wow.
Here is the difference with before
And after.
and after.
The ocean is taken over. Look at that.
You look at that. Is that
Wow.
something I can identify with masculine, feminine? No.
No.
It's like a whole situation, right? It's something that happened. And do I live near Valencia? No.
No.
So, eso fue terrible. Eso fue increíble. That was unbelievable. Eso fue increíble.
Eso, okay.
Sí, eso fue increíble. There's an example of neuter. I'm talking about a situation. How do you talk about a flood? How do you talk about a picture from space? It's a thing. It's an idea. Yeah. It's a concept. That's when we use those neuter kind of words. Okay. Bien?
Okay. Bien.
Bien.
Okay. Fantástico. Una historia, a story for next week, unrelated, and some practice words. Y adelante and forward. And if you have concepts you want to work on between now and the holiday season, make sure you email me about that. So like as Jean did, and we'll include any of those little things because review is always good. Okay, ¿todo bien?
Adiós.
Bien.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias por participar. Magnífico, magnífico. Vale, bueno,
Tenga
sí.
un buen semana.
Sí, que
Buenas
tengas
semanas.
sí, que tengan todos, sí, buena semana. Everybody have a good week. It'll be kind of a stressful week, won't it? Yeah.
Gracias.
No digo por qué. I do not say why. Mucho estrés, mucho estrés.